it's Nicole and welcome to Watercolor Wednesday. So today we're going to be playing with some shimmers and also the Twinkling H20s, because when I started playing with the shimmers, I'm like, the Twinkling H20s, there's something like that. So I went and I went into my stash and they're the same. They're shimmering watercolors. They're in a cake like that. You have to add water to activate. So if you have some of those Twinkling H2Os that we got years and years ago, I mean, those are still good because they were rock hard from the beginning, right? So I'm showing you some of the I can never say that, Lumina Arts products, Luminart, and those are the Twinkling H2Os. I had a template from Jelly Bean Soup that I've used quite a few times. I used one time, I think I had used the Twinkling H2Os with them, and some other watercolor products. And this time I traced them all out using a pencil, and I wanted to use some paste. And then I started looking in my stash, for different templates. And then I found this one from Stencil Girl. And most of the circles on the Jelly Bean Soup template are the size of the circle are on that template. So then I can just put it over I decide that I don't need it when I'm just painting, but when I'm going to use the paste, it's going to work perfectly. Now there is one circle I think on here that there's no circle that fits it, so I can't remember what I do. I either just color it in or kind of figure something out. So the pattern papers that I want to use with this is the Echo Park This and That collection that I used on my Scrap Your Stash Saturday, and I think last week. But one of the things that I say that I don't like that it's not a kit is because once you've used those pattern papers on a page kit, that's it. It goes into your stash and you don't use it again. So I wanted to make sure that probably is one of my favorite collections of all times. I love the colors. I love that there's brown with teal and with orange. So that's what I'm going to do. I pull the colors from that page and I chose some Inklings and Creamies from Shimmerz and some Twinkling H2Os from Luminart. And I'm just going to go and just fill in the circles. And I have to say, usually pages take me between 45 minutes to an hour and 5 minutes, 10 minutes. This took me over 2 hours. So I did put this video times 8 because times 2 would have been 30 minutes, and that was just a little too long. Just, to see me do the same thing over and over again, because all I do is color in the circles. Now, I don't like to cut out any of the process, and if you've been with me for a while, for several reasons. I've had several people say that that's what they like. They like to see everything and then just do the voiceover over top instead of just kind of skipping through and seeing that the circles are all done, because you're kind of seeing how I'm kind of thinking, okay, so I got an orange circle here and how I'm spreading them out, and then I'm spreading out the brown circles and the turquoise, and you still see the process, and it's kind of nice to see what sort of the person was thinking. And so I went through and I got quite a few different shades of blues, because that's probably some of the favorite colors that I liked in that This to That collection. And I still have enough with those pattern papers to get one more layout done, and I probably will do it. I probably won't do it this Saturday, because then it'll be like 3 videos in a row using the same pattern papers, but be watching for that, because I do not want those papers to go just in my stash and not used. I ended up getting one of those recollections container, I guess, but it's on wheels, and it's got 5 drawers, and it sits next to me by my scrap table. And the first drawer is where I put my cutting tools. So my little close, I want to say close to my heart, but it's not. Creative Memories. There we go. Creative Memories cutter, that little cutter. And then I have my ATG gun, and had some Project Life cards in there because I use those quite a bit for journaling. And a couple of my favorite punches. And then the second one is just, watercolor templates and stuff like that. And then I have a drawer that I put all my papers that I've been using on your Scrap Your Stash Saturdays, because those are all from page kits that I made months ago. And so they're all, sitting there, but I don't want to put them away because I want to use them. That's one thing I want to do, is make sure that they don't just sit there. So what I'll do is, after, a few Saturdays, then I'll go through that drawer and I'll try to make pages with the pattern papers that are there. So here I used one of the Textures, I think, yeah, that would be the Textures paste, and it's from Shimmerz, and it has like little sand in it. And then this is another one from Shimmerz, and I'll have a link to their store in the description of the video. And I know I said that I was going to put it in the other video, and I forgot to do it, but before I started this video, I went ahead and did that, so it's there, and it'll be in this video. There won't be any photos following at the end of this video because I went to take the pictures and my battery for my camera is dead, so I need to recharge it. And my time is totally slotted for different things. I'm working on a class for December. It's actually going to be released this weekend, so if I want this video to go up today, I had to do it right now. So, but the pictures will be on my blog, or I should say on my website. It's not a blog, it's a website, my husband keeps telling me. And we've added all the pictures of all the layouts that I've done in the last couple of months. They're all on there. And eventually there'll be links to products. I'm having a little bit of issues getting that done because it's not working. So I need to contact Simon Says Stamp today and see what the issue is. What's going on? So here I noticed that I had 2 or 3 that almost look like orange, and I didn't like that. So the great thing about watercolor is if you add enough water, you can lift most of the color off. And then I added some teal on the back of it, just so that it would cover that orange, and then I put the paste, just so that I wouldn't see any orange coming through the paste, which it probably wouldn't have, but I just wanted to make sure. So now I'm going to add little the leftovers that I have here of little circles. I'm going to add a few of the different colors, kind of seeing what's missing and adding them in. This was a lot of fun to do, but like I said, it took me a bit of time. But I love those Jelly Bean, they're called placemats, and I've had mine for a couple years now, and this is the way that I use them. You're supposed to use them on the page, but I'd rather keep them and use them as templates. Now everything is dried. I walked away for a few hours, and I'm going to outline all the circles with a black pen. And then I went in and I used that same pen, and I just did the rest of, there's little sort of wonky shaped triangles. So I did those too, just so that it added more, I don't know, it just made those circle pop. And then once all that is done, then I'll take an eraser and erase all the pencil line. Now one of the circles, I didn't bother coloring it in because I knew that I have a 4x4 picture, and I knew that I would place it right there. The circles around it, I wasn't sure if they might pop out a little bit on the side of the picture, which they don't end up. But at that point, I didn't know what I was going to do as far as layering and that kind of stuff. So I just kind of made sure. Now the circles with the texture paste, I kind of had to um, just kind of freehand around the circle. So finally, that part is done. I'm bringing in the pattern papers and it's all scraps. And the picture is of another new tool. Of course, things all break at the same time, right? Um, my microphone wasn't working anymore. It was making this horrid sound. And I mean, I've been using it for, almost 3 years now. So it did me good. And it was literally a cheap headset that I had bought from, oh my goodness, it's like a really cheap store. I think we paid like $7 for it. Now I had to buy a Mac thing that was like $35 so that it would connect to my Mac. But so not bad, $40, and I used it for 2 years, 2.5, almost 3 years. But anyway, it wasn't working anymore, and I was working on my class, and the Monday before, I had gone to the Mac store, Jump Plus, and bought my Mac, and I saw this Blue Yeti, and I was like, oh, that is what I want to do my classes and stuff. So, and then a few days later, this breaks, so I'm like, okay. I go to the store and I bought it. Now, the funny thing is I don't like to shop. Like I'm not you're not going to see me cruising the mall, going from shop to shop, window shopping. That is not me at all. And so, I was up early that morning and I was working on my classes and it stopped working and I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to get it." And it's 9:30 in the morning. I get ready and I go. I get at the mall and it's like, "What's going on?" Like it's all dark and everything. The mall only opens at 10. So there's a Starbucks in there and it was already open. So I went and got myself a peppermint, oh, mocha. So I was good. I sat down and enjoyed my peppermint mocha until the store opened. And as soon as they opened their doors, I went and grabbed the thing. And he said, "Well, you knew what you wanted." I said, "Yep." I said, "I got here way early because I thought, it was only like 15 minutes early, but um, it's not as if I was in that much of a rush, but it's just I wanted to get my day going. And it was just kind of funny that I have no idea what time the mall opens. So now I still have that Crate Paper Craft Market die cut pack still out, still in that plastic container that it comes in. I need to move it over to another. I buy those plastic containers from Michael's that are for 4x6 photos. And I put my die cut packs in there, and I haven't done that yet. So it's still sitting there. So I'm like, I wonder if there's anything in there that'll, coordinate with this layout. So I just go through it, grab everything that's craft and aqua, and it actually coordinates really well with this and that pattern paper from Echo Park. And a lot of those layers, I just used whatever size that they were in. And I used that bingo sheet. I didn't know where else that I was going to use it. And you're going to see how I cover it, eventually. And right now, I'm working on a class for December, which is Let's Document December, which is basically like, December daily. And so it's going to be like 50 videos. But another class that I'm working on is right after I'm done this one. I'm almost done the December one. And after that, I'm going to be working on clustering. And so I'm going to be, because these videos are like super fast, and even though it's 15 minutes, there's so many other things to focus on. So we're going to be focusing on clustering and sort of like what goes through my mind when I go and put these clusters together. So be watching for that. It'll probably be, I don't know, middle of December or something like that, or maybe even January. Not quite sure when that's going to come out. So that bingo card was really bugging me. So I took a piece of packaging and I'm going to do my journaling there. And then you can kind of see, a lot of the bingo numbers. So then I take a piece of It's just a little die cut, and I put on the end. And that's it. That's going to end the Watercolor Wednesday. So thank you so much for joining me. Bye.